this episode of the Movie Bros, we are reviewing How It Ends.
The main characters in the movie are Theo James, Kat Graham, Forrest Whitaker, and the director is David Rosenthal. The year it was released was 2018, and it was a Netflix original.
Now, this apocalyptic movie is based in the midst of an apocalypse, and a man is struggling to reach his pregnant wife who is thousands of miles away. And thus the story begins.
So, in this movie, Steve, what did you like or dislike about the movie with the acting?
I think overall the acting was pretty good. It had Forrest Whitaker, we know, who's been around, and when I was watching it, I didn't think it was cheesy acting or grade B acting necessarily. I wouldn't say it's like blockbuster or A-listers, but overall I was fine with the acting in the movie. How about you?
Yeah, it was good acting. I think that sometimes Forrest Whitaker's character went a little bit over the top, and then I guess Theo James, he was so pacifist it just irked me. But beyond that, he kind of evolved toward the end of the movie where he wasn't as pacifist, Yeah. So I think I was okay with the acting.
Hey, one thing we should probably mention is that this review is going to have spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
So if you've not seen the movie, I recommend you guys just pausing this, go watch it, come back, because we will be revealing spoilers and the ending and everything else. So you've been warned.
Okay, so we'll get back to what we liked and disliked about the movie. What about special effects?
Yeah, special effects were pretty good. They were very well done, very believable in terms of how they looked. You didn't have that, old ancient, some of you're going to hate me, but the old ancient Star Treks where everyone's grabbing hold of the left, the chair and the camera's shaking. We've come a long way. But believe it or not, some of these newer movies really haven't come a long way. This one did, I thought. They spent some money on the special effects, the apocalyptic effects of nature and things that were happening. I felt that was done well. I was satisfied with that.
Yeah, I liked a lot of the special effects they had going on, like some of the thunderstorms and that big dust cloud.
Yes.
And with the fire shooting out of it.
Yeah, that was epic. That was good.
I thought that was pretty good. I mean, there wasn't a ton of special effects, but what they did do was, warranted and it added to the movie instead of taking away or making it part of the only thing in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't like that is like when you have a movie and all they have are special effects. That's the whole movie.
Yes.
There's no other substance.
Yeah. Michael Bay. Excuse me. Oh, sorry about that. Absolutely could not agree with you more. We've all seen too many movies that transform into plot only, lacking with just special effects, transforming in front of your face.
Fanstormers.
Aha, that's right.
All right, moving on.
Sorry. Yes.
Moving on. Well, what did you think of the cinematography of this story?
Hey, this is a Netflix original, and it didn't feel like it was a Netflix original per se. It had much more of a big Hollywood production film in terms of how it looks visually, and so I was pleased with the cinematography. Didn't feel like you were in some cheesy sound stage, with duct tape propping stuff up. It felt like a real big budget movie.
Yeah, I really like the cinematography because it showed them going from Chicago across the country all the way to Seattle, which is, 2,100 miles, It's like 31 hours. Mm-hmm. And so they have to go through all these multiple states, flat states, and then they go through Montana and they show like all the gorgeous, mountainside and and Seattle with the ocean and everything like that. So I think I think the cinematography was really well done, um, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about story continuity? Continuity? How you say it?
That continuity.
Continuity. That's it.
There you
Yes.
go.
Story continuity.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I felt like it did a good job of, point A to point B. Felt that the story was told pretty good. There wasn't a lot of time for character development because, it's the nature of the movie. They are trying to get across the country. Now they have some character development as they travel a little bit, but there wasn't a whole lot. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my mind, I don't remember there being a lot of dialogue of the character development going on. You get a little bit at the beginning when they're at the supper table where he comes to the parents of his of their daughter who he wants to be with, and they're gonna have a child with, and that's kind of awkward. It's like the first time they've met, and so now he's thrown into a car with the guy to try to go save his girlfriend and the other guy's daughter, right? So anyway, yeah, I mean, you don't want it to be a 3-hour movie either, where you're in a car for 2 hours for developing characters. So they had to balance it, and I thought they did okay. It was more about what was happening and what was going to happen next than more about the people. I thought, would you agree, or you see it differently?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much to like on continuity wise because they're always moving, always doing something. It's not like they're stuck in the same place and you come back and oh, this picture's moved, or like you say, the hamburger's turned the wrong way on the plate, and for me, continuity is how does it move along. Like you said, there wasn't much character development because they didn't really talk to each other in the car. So it's just the Forrest Whitaker and Theo James are in the car together, and the only time that really they talk is when they're in dire situations, and Forrest Whitaker's telling them to shoot the gun or get in the car, So, it's not. I mean, there wasn't much continuity to look at.
Yeah, it's not one of these movies where there's a whole lot going on in one place, and like you say, it's constantly moving, and they're not going backwards, so you're going somewhere new every scene, and so yeah. And it definitely kept you going. It wasn't boring. I didn't think there was a lot of slow time in it. I thought that it kept your attention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What about the storyline?
So the storyline itself, I think it was good. It was overall good. I think it was overall good. I think that there was also one of those movies. It's also one of those movies where it doesn't leave a lot of. It doesn't explain a lot, I should say, and so you kind of wonder what's going on, but you're not really sure. And there are clues that they dropped, and I think you picked up on more of the clues than I did. We talked about it at the end, but for me, I would if I would have been in the theater and I would have walked out, I would have been like, I don't really understand what's behind all this, other than just what's happening with the Earth, and because it's clearly not like an alien attack,
But you don't know that.
You don't know that, no.
Yeah.
But you don't see aliens. You don't see ships. You don't see. There's no clear presentation of an otherworldly attack. But I guess I always like to have more of an explanation given, just because I think it adds a nice ending, a nice bow to the package, But it wasn't. Again, that was a kind of a minor point, really. It didn't bug me that bad. I just would like to have seen that, and the story itself. I mean, I think it pretty much delivered what it said it was going to do. Did you have any other ideas that you would like to have seen?
Well, with the storyline for me, I thought, okay, the main thing is they're trying to get from point A, Chicago, to point B in Seattle to save his girlfriend slash daughter.
Right.
The whole thing of, there's some kind of natural disaster or alien invasion or some kind of like military something happening is totally unanswered throughout the whole movie, and you're sitting there wondering what's going on. Did a super volcano erupt? Are aliens somewhere? And they leave you on these misleading trails, because they had the railway that had all the tanks and stuff on it, and for some reason it derailed. And why did it derail? Did aliens attack it, or how did that even happen?
True.
And you get to the end of the movie, and it just ends abruptly, and there's no answers. And you're like, well, what happened? To us, where we had to go look it up, and they came up with some, answer that I never would have thought of, in any situation. The Earth's magnetic pole is like switched.
Yeah.
Who would have thought of that? I mean,
very creative thinking to have to dig that out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, how many people would have been like, oh yeah, like the guy said, he goes, well, they left some clues. Well, what are you, a physicist or something?
Yeah.
Average Joe wouldn't think that.
Right.
I mean,
It's true.
The only other movie I ever saw that talked about, pole switching was 2012, with, I forget the actor's name, but yeah, the polars, the magnetic poles like switch and causes all this turmoil. And this is what happened in the movie too. So
yeah. Well, and the ending, now that you mentioned it, it wasn't a very satisfying ending to me. You see these people in the car, they're driving, and behind them is this volcano or whatever. It looks like a volcano.
This wall of ash and fire.
Yeah, a wall of ash and fire. We don't even know if it's a volcano. We're just assuming. But anyway, the smoke is just like barreling down, and I'm not talking about a little bit of smoke. I mean, it's huge.
It's destroying mountains.
Yeah, it's huge, massive. And they're driving. They're like, what was it? Some cheesy line like, we're gonna make it there.
Make it, and they turn as he's driving over 100 miles an hour in this old rickety truck and gets her a big smooch.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah. Final scene. Camera pans back. They're driving, and the smoke's right behind them, and then
the smoke kind of like dissipates back a little bit.
It's like it's consciously aware of what their dialogue is in the truck.
Yeah.
And then the smoke's gonna let it go, and then it ends. So, storyline wise, they had a lot of good things. Ending wise, though, it could have been a lot better ending.
Yeah. So, was it believable to you in their world?
In their world, well, the ending, no. But here, they didn't explain enough of their world, really, to know what's behind it to make a decision if it's believable. Because if you ask me, if you have barreling smoke and ash, it doesn't have a conscience or a brain, so it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
So I thought that was not believable unless there's a force controlling it, which you have to assume because they don't tell you. So if I want to make the assumption that there is something behind it, then okay, I would say that would be believable. But if not, then I don't know how you could say it is, because that just doesn't happen.
I think it was pretty believable. 99% of the movie was pretty believable in their world, as they're going across, they're trying to get to Seattle, what they have to go through in order to get to Seattle, like siphoning off gas and keep finding food and water, which gas is a hot commodity,
Right.
because there's nothing open, and it's like, that's one other thing that really bothered me about the whole they're in Chicago and they're all the way in the eastern coast,
Hmm.
and they go from there to Seattle, Washington, which is on the west coast, and it's like everybody disappeared. There's nobody out there.
Yeah.
People have to continue to live. I mean,
Right.
they don't just disappear, and they didn't the military didn't move people out. So
Yeah.
that was kind of unbelievable to me.
That
But,
was.
I mean, but I think in an apocalyptic, time, sort of like this was, that,
Mhm.
finding gas and getting, food and water, that they kind of nailed it. And them getting there to Seattle, that was really believable to me. It's just that very last scene
Yeah.
wasn't, and, where everybody was.
Good point. I keep fixating on that last scene more than I am the other stuff. It just bugs me. But to your point, yeah, how's everyone just gone? It looks like, in fact, we made a comment watching it. Remember that if you didn't know, you would think this movie was happening 6 months after some apocalyptic event
Yeah.
had occurred. And it literally just happened the day before.
Well, yeah, I mean, by the time he gets to Seattle, it's day 5 or 6.
So day 5 or 6, and it's like ghost towns. It's complete insanity, and nobody's around.
Well, I mean, in Seattle, it's covered in ash, and people died of toxic fumes and stuff like that. So that's believable for, earthquakes and it being, people
Yeah.
have died, but there was nothing to indicate any of that, except for the one thunderstorm they had to go through while they're out in the, middle of nowhere, but
Yeah.
I mean, they found an Indian reservation and then that one town, which had a couple people, but that was it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and they pick up the one token person on, there's a formula to these things. And we knew right away this poor person on the end of in the reservation is going to get off and go with them. And we both were like, the minute he got in the car, like, oh, he's dead. It's just a matter of time. And of course, he was. Anyway.
all right, Steve. So the time comes to rank the movie. Our rankings are our top ranking would be a bro movie, which is something you would watch over and over and you really love it. A friend rating is something you could watch every so often, but it's not your favorite. An acquaintance movie, one you would probably never watch again, but it's not necessarily a horrible movie. And then you got your bucket movie, is a horrible movie that was a waste of your time. You'd never ever watch it or recommend it to anybody.
Yes.
So what's your ranking?
So this one, how it ends for me, will come out as probably an acquaintance movie. I probably won't watch it again, but it's not, again, necessarily a bad movie. I wouldn't walk out of the room if someone had it on. I could watch it. But if I'm scrolling through, I'm probably not going to go back and watch it again. So for me, it's an acquaintance film.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I think it'd be an acquaintance film for me also. It was good for what it was worth, and we were able to watch it and see it. And the acting wasn't horrible. The story wasn't horrible. Nothing was horrible about the movie. It's just there's certain parts of it, and it's just not something that ever grabbed me. So it's not necessarily anything I'd ever watch again. I mean, if it was in the room, I'd probably change the channel or something. But if somebody was watching it, I might sit and watch it with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I give it an acquaintance rating.
Okay, so for on this episode, we are in agreement. How it ends, sorry, you're just an acquaintance. Well, well, listen, guys, if you've enjoyed the review today, please subscribe to our channel. Go up below, click subscribe, look for the little bell, and click it for notifications of new videos.
Yeah, because we're always going to be doing more movie reviews, and we want to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely.
If you've seen the movie, let us know what you think and what your ranking would be.
Yeah, please post in the comments below. Tell us what you thought about the film, and if you have ideas of movies you'd like to see reviewed by the Movie Bros, leave it in the comments. Got anything else, Mike?
That's it.
All right.
We'll see you next time.
See you guys.